these two swatches are from another company that I love and that I've worked with extensively over the years. This is mYak Tibetan fibers, based in Italy. I've used two of their yarns because I happen to have lots of bits of their yarns around the house, and they both magically worked, and I'm so happy about that because they make very different fabrics, but both very compelling. If you don't know anything about mYak, I recommend checking them out as well. But they actually, the people who started it, worked with Tibetan nomads who raise yak, and other nomads who also raise sheep. And so they're sourcing directly from the people that they once worked with on social projects. And the yarn itself was a project to bring income back to the region. So combining incredible fiber raised in Tibet by these people who know their animals so well with the quality of Italian spinning, which I think we all know it cannot be beat. So, and then their very interesting take on palette and all kinds of other things. They've come up with something that is just sensational. So I work with it again and again and again. And I love wool, and I think next to that, you may already know, I love yak very, very much. And I was waiting for someone to make a yak yarn like this, and they went ahead and did it. So this is their Tibetan cloud wool. This is a very unusual wool because essentially it's the combed undercoat of a Tibetan sheep, so not something you typically see. And it has a lot of rough outer coat that needs to be taken out, which is not something people tend to do for this kind of wool. It's something you would do with cashmere, for example, but people don't tend to do it commercially with wool. But the result is amazing. This is such a downy undercoat. And this is an unusual structure in that it is a 2-ply worsted spun yarn, very loosely plied, very relaxed ply. And it works at a large number of gauges for this reason. It's very interesting, and I've worked with it a number of times and will continue to want to because it has so many secrets to tell. I'm just always in love with what it's doing. I've used it in cables and other structures and stockinette and color work. It wears beautifully. It's so soft and light. One of my sweaters I wear almost like a sweatshirt because it's so comfortable. There's something very comfortable about this yarn. Quite soft. I think it looks great in this stitch pattern. It has a good amount, a good hybrid of structure and drape, I would say. And mYak tends to have a very unusual palette. And this particular yarn has a kind of dusty, muted palette that is very nice. So I would take a look at that. Then this one is their Baby Yak lace weight held double. So this is the only other lace weight yarn I tried with so far. So that's 2 strands of their 2-ply lace. Now this has been washed. It's a little bit distorted, the structure, but it's quite thin, but it blooms a lot. I have even used this yarn single-stranded on a 4 needle and creates a real fabric. So in this swatch, I'm using the same old US 6 4mm needle, and just look at that, the shine and then the drape. So this one is much drapier than the others because everything else I've shown you so far has been predominantly wool. And yak fiber does have very different properties. It's very warm, so this one will be a very warm sweater. Be aware of that. But there's nothing wrong with that because it will also be a very light but warm layer. Again, beautiful palette to choose from. When you strand like this, when you hold 2 parallel strands, you do tend to get more drape. The yarns behave differently than if they were applied together. So using 2 strands of lace weight like this is a nice way to also ensure a bit more drape in your finished sweater. This is yarn I've used over and over again for years, and I know that it wears well. It's actually kind of incredible considering how soft it is. I think it's a testament to the good spinning. So these are Italian produced worsted spun yarns. So I highly recommend them. Check them out. mYak.